I'm Trench Reynolds, and I write crime. Some stories claw their way back into your life no matter how many times you think they're over. They linger, they echo, they fester. This one? It's the kind of story that makes you stare a little too long at the Justice Served sign in front of the courthouse and wonder if someone forgot to plug it in. Today we step back into Campbell County, Tennessee, a place where the mountains are steady, the people are steady, but the justice system, well, that's where the wheels start falling off. This isn't just the story of a school shooting. It's the story of what happens afterward, when the system keeps giving second chances to a kid who shot 3 people and killed 1, and then somehow kept getting invited back for more. Buckle up. This is the tale of Kenny Bartley Jr., a teenager with a gun, a courtroom with patience, and a future that should have included a prison cell, but instead turned into a sequel marathon. November 8th, 2005, Campbell County High School. A regular Tuesday, or at least it was supposed to be. 3 administrators, Principal Gary Seal, Assistant Principal Jim Pierce, and Assistant Principal Ken Bruce, were hunting down a rumor, a tip, a whisper in the hallway that one student had brought a gun to school. 15-year-old Kenny Bartley, a freshman, troubled past, a reputation like a cracked windshield, holding together, but one wrong bump would shatter it. They called him to the office, told him to empty his pockets, asked him for the gun they suspected he had. That's when the world tilted. Witnesses said Bartley slipped a .22 out like he was showing off a toy. Then came the line, the one Jim Pierce and Gary Seal would remember forever. "I'll show you. I never liked you anyway." And then the shots rang out. Ken Bruce went down fatally. Gary Seal and Jim Pierce were hit, wounded, bleeding, and fighting for breath. All in that small office that seconds before had been a meeting room, not a war zone. Bartley wasn't confused. He wasn't startled. He wasn't overwhelmed. He slid the magazine into the gun right in front of them. He racked the slide. He made sure everyone knew it was real. Intent? Oh, that question would bounce around courtrooms for years. But here's the thing. People don't accidentally put a round in the chamber and give a monologue. Kids later said Bartley spent the whole day showing the gun off. "Feel this," he told them. Pressed the gun into their hands like it was a show and tell item you brought from home. How many students saw it? Too many. How many reported it? Only 1. 1 kid saving the day, but hours too late. As the dust settled, Bartley's backstory spilled out in interviews, court documents, and one too many neighbors who always knew something was off. A broken home, juvenile detention in Scott County. Expelled, transferred, shuffled, recycled. A stint in a Christian boarding home, Kingswood School, where counselors tried to turn him around. They said he wasn't ready to go home. Bartley's parents said, "We'll take it from here." But they didn't. His history with administrators? Well, years earlier he had stabbed Principal Gary Seal in the hand with a pencil. And now, here they all were again, in the same room, on the last day Ken Bruce would ever speak. Even the school resource officer later said Bartley had Xanax on him, 10 pills. He admitted he had taken 2, said he was going to trade the gun for OxyContin. A teenager, on pills, carrying a gun, planning a drug trade. And people were shocked when things went bad. The justice system acted fast. Faster than it usually does when teenagers are involved. He's charged as an adult. He pleads guilty in 2007 to second-degree murder and attempted murder. He gets 45 years. For once, everyone thought, finally, the system did something right. Unfortunately, optimism never ages well. Over the next few years, Bartley and a rotating cast of defense attorneys staged a full-court press of appeals. My lawyer pressured me. My parents didn't approve my plea. I didn't understand the deal. The court said no, then said no again, then said no one more time for good measure. But then in 2011, one judge cracked. That guilty plea? Tossed out. Suddenly, Bartley wasn't a convicted murderer anymore. He was a man waiting for his second chance at freedom. The victims' families? They got to watch justice unravel like a cheap sweater. One pulled thread, and everything fell apart. 2014. Bartley's back in court. He testifies. And folks, you may want to sit down for this one. He claims he snorted Xanax and Valium. Snorted. 2 sedatives that practically turn your brain into mashed potatoes. Then he claims he panicked. Now, I'm no doctor, but panic is not the typical side effect of Valium or Xanax, and yet somehow the jury bought it. First-degree murder? Not guilty. Attempted murder? Not guilty. Reckless homicide? Yep, but he had already served the max. Time served. He walks out of the court that day a free man. Not because he was innocent, not because evidence changed, but because a jury decided a teenager with a loaded gun didn't know what he was doing. Justice? No. But it was something. Once free, Bartley didn't fade quietly into society. He hit the ground running, straight into the arms of more trouble. Threatening his parents, fighting cops, violating probation, getting drunk, getting tasered again and again, breaking into a Salvation Army office because apparently even criminal acts come with coupons for repeat offenders. And then was the most disturbing detour of all. As part of his probation, Bartley is sent to live with his therapist in Virginia. A therapist who, let's say this gently, should have had her license audited. Rumors, that later became allegations, said she became romantically involved with him. She'd known him since he was 11, worked with him in juvenile detention, let him move into her house, and then the worst part, left her 3-year-old son alone with him. The boy died. The autopsy said it was blunt force trauma. CPS ruled it was child abuse. The mother's story? He fell down 3 steps. Sure. 3 steps that apparently delivered spinal injuries, retinal hemorrhages, and multiple healing fractures. Sounds legit. Bartley fled the state, taunted police online, catch me if you can. And yet, no charges were ever filed. Sometimes justice isn't blind. Sometimes it's in a coma. Then the years go by. 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2020. You can set your watch by Bartley's next arrest. Threats, violence, probation violations, disorderly conduct, assaulting officers, assaulting family, getting acquitted by local juries who must have thought they were voting for prom king and not deciding a criminal's fate. There's a saying that says, when people show you who they are, you believe them. Bartley showed everyone, repeatedly, and the system responded, let's give him another shot. After 2020, the headlines stop. Maybe he's keeping his head down. Maybe he's in treatment. Maybe he found religion. Or maybe he's just gone quiet until the next storm. History suggests this story isn't over. Not really. Not with his track record. Some people are lightning, always looking for a place to strike. This has been the long, winding, frustrating, infuriating saga of Kenny Bartley Jr. A story paved with warning signs, red flags, second chances, third chances, and an endless line of "what were they thinking" type moments. If this tale leaves you unsettled, good. Crime stories should. Because they remind us of the thin, fraying line between justice and a system trying its best to impersonate it. If you survived this episode, congratulations. You're officially tougher than Tennessee's probation guidelines. Thank you for listening. If you want the full archive of what I've written over the past 25 years, including the cases that don't make it to YouTube, please visit my website at realcrime.net. My most recent posts have been about the billion-dollar school shooting security industry, which will probably be our next episode. And if you want to keep this going and help keep the lights on, please visit patreon.com/Trench Reynolds. Every bit of support matters. Special thanks to patrons Mare, Kelly, and Trish. And even thanks to the patrons on the free tier. I'm just glad someone is interested in my stories. And for your YouTube folks, like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, please share these videos. And do that new hype thing, whatever that is. I don't know, I only use desktop mode. Until next time, remember, sometimes the bad guy walks free. Not because he outsmarted the law, but because the law tripped over its own shoelaces. I'm Trench Reynolds, and I write crime.